Taxis honked. Steam curled from subway grates. Suits and sneakers moved in sharp diagonals across crosswalks as if choreographed by agency itself. On Ponchmo Avenue, the cafe windows glowed golden against the crisp winter air, inviting the ambitious and the exhausted inside for 10 minutes of warmth. Daniel Harrington entered at exactly subah ke 7:12. He always arrived at 7 say 12. Not 7 say 10, not 7 say 15. Precision was his religion. The barista, already trained by repetition, had his order started before he spoke. Double espresso, no sugar, porcelain cup, never paper. Daniel nodded once, the silent acknowledgement of a man accustomed to efficiency. His name had been featured repeatedly in Forbes as one of America's most disciplined sources. Analysts admired his predictability. Investors trusted it. Habits built empire. He chose the same corner table he had chosen every Tuesday for 3 years. Back to the wall. Clear view of the entrance. No surprises. His phone lit up with overnight reports. Asian markets. European expansion projections. A pending acquisition in San Francisco. Numbers scrolled like obedient soldiers across the screen. But today, his focus fractured. 2 tables away sat a woman in a worn blue coat. She was young, maybe early 30s, but exhaustion had a way of adding years. Across from her sat a little girl with bright curls and watchful eyes. Between them sat one muffin, cut precisely in half. Daniel's jaw tightened involuntarily. The woman slid one half toward the girl. "You take the bigger piece," she whispered. "It's okay, mommy. I'm not that hungry," the child replied, the practiced lie of someone who had learned early how to protect her parents' dignity. Daniel looked back down at his phone. He told himself it wasn't his concern. He had built a life on that boundary. Feelings complicate decisions. Compassion clouds strategy. Yet the image lingered. A muffin divided carefully. He remembered another kitchen, smaller, dimmer. A cramped apartment in Brooklyn decades ago. His mother cutting toast into equal squares, pretending she'd already eaten. He inhaled sharply and pushed the memory away. The little girl was staring at him. Not casually, intently. Children didn't recognize power the way adults did. They sensed something else, something quieter. Daniel shifted in his chair. The girl leaned toward her mother. "Mom," she whispered. "Yes, Lily." The cafe noise hummed around them, cups clinking, chairs scraping, conversations overlapping, but somehow Daniel heard her clearly. "That's him." Her mother glanced at her. "That's who, sweetheart?" "The man from my dream." Daniel's hand froze mid-scroll. He did not believe in destiny. He believed in preparation. The mother gave an embarrassed laugh and looked briefly in Daniel's direction. "She has very big dreams," she said apologetically. But Lily was already sliding off her chair. Each step toward Daniel felt slow, deliberate, like the ticking of a clock breaking rhythm. Daniel's instinct was to retreat into indifference. Instead, he waited. She stopped at his table and looked up at him with calm certainty. "You're him," she said. Daniel removed his glasses slowly. "Him, the man who helps us." Something flickered in his chest, not fear, not pride. Recognition. The mother hurried over. "I'm so sorry, sir. She didn't mean to disturb you." "It's fine," Daniel said quietly. He turned back to Lily. "What kind of dream was it?" Lily placed her small hands on the table edge, steadying herself. "In my dream, Mommy was crying because we have to leave our apartment. There was a paper on the door." She paused. "You came and said, 'Don't worry. You just needed someone to see you.'" The words struck Daniel with unsettling precision. He looked at the mother. Her face had gone pale. "How do you know about that paper?" she whispered to her daughter. "I heard you on the phone last night," Lily admitted softly. The cafe seemed suddenly too small. Daniel leaned back in his chair. Eviction. He knew the word well. He remembered the sharp knock. The humiliation. The feeling of invisibility. His entire adult life had been engineered to escape that memory. Early mornings. Relentless discipline. No wasted motion. The power of habit had built walls around him. But this child had walked straight through them. He cleared his throat. "Are you being evicted?" The mother hesitated, pride wrestling with honesty. Finally, she nodded. "Yes." Just one word. It carried exhaustion, fear, apology, and stubborn dignity. Daniel studied her more closely now. The worn sleeves of her coat. The careful way she held herself upright despite fatigue. The way she had given her daughter the larger half without hesitation. Not begging, protecting. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Emily." "And you're Lily," he said. Lily smiled. "I told you." Daniel allowed the faintest hint of a smile in return. He felt an unfamiliar tension inside himself. This was not a boardroom negotiation. There were no spreadsheets here. No strategic advantage. Only choice. He could return to his phone. Finish his coffee. Leave at सुबह के 7:28 as always. That was the habit. Or he could break it. Years ago, a stranger had paid his family's overdue rent. Anonymous. Silent. Life-altering. Daniel had never known the name of that person. He only knew the impact. He reached into his jacket and removed a simple white card. Not the public one with assistants and corporate lines. His private number. He placed it gently on the table in front of Emily. Come see me tomorrow at सुबह के 9 बजे. Emily stared at the card without touching it. Sir, I don't think we can afford. It's not about affording, Daniel interrupted softly. It's about being seen. The words surprised even him. Lily beamed as if the dream had simply unfolded on schedule. Daniel stood, something shifting inside his carefully ordered world. For the first time in years, he left his espresso unfinished. As he stepped out into the sharp Manhattan air, the city noise rushed back around him. His driver pulled up immediately, punctual as always. Daniel paused before getting inside. All his life, he had believed that success came from repeating the right actions every day. Wake early, work harder, feel less. But as the car merged into traffic, one thought refused to fade. Habits can build walls, or they can build bridges. And sometimes, it takes a child in a cafe to remind a billionaire which one truly matters. Assistants hurried. Elevators chimed. Screens displayed stock numbers in bright green and red. At exactly सुबह के 9 बजने में 3 मिनट बाकी, Emily stepped through the revolving doors, holding Lily's hand tightly. She almost turned back. The marble floors reflected chandeliers like something from another world. Security guards stood straight. Receptionists spoke in calm, polished tones. This was not a place for women with worn blue coats. Lily squeezed her hand. Don't worry, Mom, she whispered. His niece. Emily swallowed. The receptionist looked up. Do you have an appointment? Emily hesitated before placing the white card on the desk. The receptionist's expression changed instantly. Yes, Mom. Mr. Harrington is expecting you. Within seconds, an assistant escorted them to a private elevator reserved only for the CEO. As the doors closed, Lily's eyes widened. This is like a spaceship. Emily tried to smile, but her heart pounded. On the top floor, the elevator opened to silence. Floor 2, ceiling windows revealed the entire city, bridges stretching across the water, yellow taxis crawling below like moving pieces on a board. And in the center of it all stood Daniel Harrington. He wasn't sitting behind his desk. He was waiting. When he saw Lily, something softened in his expression. You're early, he said gently. You said 9, Lily replied proudly. Daniel almost laughed. You're right. He gestured for them to sit. Emily perched nervously on the edge of the chair. Lily swung her legs freely, completely unafraid. Daniel did not rush. He had cancelled his morning meetings, something that had not happened in years. Tell me what's going on, he said calmly. At first, Emily tried to stay composed. She explained about losing her job at a small retail store when it closed. About medical bills after Lily's asthma attacks. About rent piling up. About the eviction notice taped to their apartment door. I tried everything, she said, voice trembling. Extra shifts. Selling furniture. I just ran out of time. Daniel listened. Not as a billionaire. Not as a CEO featured in Forbes. But as a boy who once watched his own mother cry at a kitchen table in a small apartment in Brooklyn. He turned slowly toward the window. For years, he believed discipline alone had saved him. Wake up early. Work harder than everyone else. Feel nothing. But that wasn't the full truth. Someone had helped his family once. A stranger had covered their rent during the worst winter of his childhood. That single act gave his mother breathing room. Breathing room gave her strength. Strength gave him opportunity. The power of habit had made him rich. But the power of one kind act had made him possible. Daniel turned back toward them. How much do you owe? He asked. Emily hesitated. 3 months' rent. And utilities. Daniel walked to his desk and pressed a button. His CFO entered moments later, confused. Yes, sir. I want the full balance of MS. Emily Carter's rent paid today. Directly to her landlord. And clear her outstanding utilities. The CFO blinked. Sir, today, Daniel repeated. The CFO nodded quickly and left. Emily stared at him in disbelief. I don't understand. Daniel sat down across from her. I used to think success meant never looking back, he said quietly. But sometimes looking back reminds you who you're supposed to be. Tears streamed down Emily's face. Lily slid off her chair and walked straight to Daniel. I told you, she said proudly. You were in my dream. Daniel knelt in front of her. Maybe your dream wasn't about me, he said softly. Maybe it was about courage. Lily tilted her head. Whose? Yours. And your mom's. But Daniel wasn't finished. He stood and picked up a folder from his desk. For months, I've been planning to launch a community outreach division, he explained. A program to help families facing eviction and job loss across the United States. Emily wiped her tears. That's amazing. I need someone who understands what that feels like, Daniel continued. Someone who won't treat it like numbers on a spreadsheet. Emily looked confused. Sir, I don't have a corporate background. I don't need corporate, Daniel said firmly. I need compassion. The room fell silent. Would you be willing to work with us? He asked. Emily's voice broke. You'd hire me? Yes. Lily clapped her hands. See, Mom, I told you. Daniel laughed, a real laugh this time, the kind that hadn't escaped him in years. Something inside him felt different. Lighter, alive. His assistant peeked in nervously. Sir, the board meeting. Reschedule it, Daniel said calmly. The assistant's eyes widened. Reschedule. Yes. After they left, Emily stood slowly. I don't know how to thank you. Daniel shook his head. Don't thank me. Just promise me something. What? When you're strong again, help someone else. Emily nodded through tears. I will. As they walked toward the elevator, Lily suddenly ran back. She hugged Daniel tightly. He froze. Physical affection was not part of his routine. But slowly, awkwardly, he hugged her back. You weren't just rich in my dream, she whispered. What was I? Kind. The elevator doors closed. Daniel stood alone in his vast office overlooking Manhattan. For years, his habits had built wealth. But today, he built something else. A new habit. Every Tuesday morning, he would return to that cafe on Panchma Avenue. Not for coffee, not for meetings, but to remember that success without compassion is empty. And that sometimes, the smallest voice in a crowded cafe can awaken the biggest heart. Because habits shape destiny, and the most powerful habit of all is choosing kindness again and again.